We have here Nicolas, co-founder from Velocity Labs. We have Flavio, CMO from Polimec. We have Matt Cook, co-founder and CBDO from Mandala Foundation, and Žiga, founder and managing director from Trace Labs and OriginTrail. Hey, welcome.
Hey.
So, Nico, let's start with you. You are the co-founder of Velocity Labs. Just give us a quick intro what you do, but then also more importantly, what's currently going on in Polkadot Cloud, Polkadot Hub. What do these things mean?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us here. So Velocity Labs is a core contributor to the Polkadot ecosystem, and we focus on two main areas. One is we do BD for DeFi and infrastructure, so that means that we make sure that the Polkadot ecosystem with all of its parachains and builders have all the necessary pieces to actually build great products. So that includes custodians, centralized exchanges, stable coins, bridges, oracles, et cetera, et cetera. And then the second arm that we have is a product and engineering arm, where we have a very unique view into how the core protocol development is going, and also how builders are using it. And we kind of find and identify pain points to solve by building tooling and products with our team. So that's a little bit of what Velocity does. More specifically around the Polkadot ecosystem and this new framework that we use in, which is Hub and Cloud. I'm a big fan of analogies, which allow us to kind of abstract these more complex subjects. And the way that I would put it is that Polkadot, since inception, which was 4.5 years ago, we sort of built race cars when developers were just starting to drive, which basically meant we were too early to the market of actually building and developing chains. Back in 2020, 2021, people were just starting to iterate with smart contracts on generalized chains. We're starting to build the DeFi primitives or like gamified primitives that we know nowadays. And then after a couple of years, fast forward to today, then the demand for chains and the demand for customization and scalability started to arrive. So we were a bit too early. This let's say this chain concept that we offer as a protocol is what we call Hub. What we call Cloud, which is any developer wanting to spin up its own parachain. Now, the other focus that we're having is kind of focusing in the earlier stage of the builder cycle, which is this concept of Hub. And Hub, we're leaning a lot into the EVM world. We actually want to lower the barriers of entry to developers, provide those familiar tools of developers in the EVM and in the Ethereum ecosystem, but actually allow them to combine those with Polkadot native functionalities like its throughput, its interoperability, and its scalability. So yeah, I'll stop there. That's a little bit of kind of where we are as an ecosystem.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Nicolas. Flavio, let's continue with you. So you are part of the team from Polimec, and you are an ICO protocol. So give us a little bit of an introduction, and then I'll follow up with my question.
Yeah, more than happy to do an introduction. So Flavio from Polimec, as mentioned, we basically bring back ICOs, but this time we settle them on-chain. So we're a decentralized funding protocol that settles those fundraisers on-chain. We have a lot of investors, a lot of projects that are coming to us because they don't really like the current stage of how the basically baseline is for raising funds. Over the last couple of years, it's been very dominated by VCs. There was a very opaque scene in primary markets and not a lot of access as well for investors. So we want to make it more transparent, more accessible, and also more secure by having it on-chain, so without having those reliabilities of centralized parties, no counterparty risk, no financial outsourcing. Since we put everything on-chain, it also allows us to act as software, which also in turn then means we are able to integrate with financial intermediaries directly, which is one of the scalability strategies that we are running. So think of exchanges. For the Polkadot OGs, if you remember back in the days, you were able to participate in those par-chain auctions or leases on, for example, Kraken or other exchanges, and we are now looking to implement similar products for fundraising, just to make capital allocation much more efficient, more accessible, and for you to have some good deals on your table.
So the Polkadot Hub is basically the go-to portal for new users and developers, but it's also the portal that bridges to systems like Ethereum and other chains. So it gives you access to USDT, USDC natively, on Polkadot, but also this interoperability aspect. Can you go a little bit into how Polimec is leveraging it?
Yeah, more than happy. One of the big reasons why we initially wanted to become a parachain or a roll-up, whatever you want to call it, and build on Polkadot was that we have the ability to actually bridge to other chains, which is also why I don't know if this is an exclusive, but we are soon announcing our expansion to Ethereum as well, with other L2s following up. What does that mean? It means we are able to actually have fundraisers from EVM-based projects on Polimec, which is built on Polkadot. You know, Polkadot sometimes is called the relay chain because it relays the messages between all the chains. And I think this is sort of what we look at as a power tool for us to be able to, you know, offer our services beyond any ecosystem and really bridge into every different community and offer those deals. And obviously, bridging assets is very important. I think also Nico is playing a big role with Velocity Labs there and supporting us in how can we bridge assets to invest in those protocols, but also then the migration process once those tokens go live. Yeah, so pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it really highlights the interoperability aspect of Polkadot, where you can connect to different ecosystems and orchestrate all the activity from Polkadot.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Flavio. Matt, you are part of Mandala Chain. You're founder, co-founder? Co-founder?
Yeah.
Sorry. Co-founder and Chief Business Development Officer, right? So for me, this is very interesting because you're building GovTech or governance tech. That's at least how I frame it. I'm going to be interested to hear how you frame it. But the interesting part of Polkadot for me is that it's very heavy on Web3, right? It's not just about DeFi and financialization, but it's also about bringing a benefit to the real world. And for me, Mandala is a project that really highlights this in terms of developing products that are going to affect millions of people. So maybe can you share a little bit about Mandala and what you're currently doing?
Yeah, sure. It's great to be here. Thank you. So Mandala Chain is based in Indonesia right now, our core team. But we're very much not focused only on Indonesia. We are starting our initial use cases there because we have a strong advantage with our connections with government and enterprise. What we essentially are is we're a parachain in the Mandala ecosystem, a layer 1 capability parachain. So that brings together 3 different sectors: the government, the enterprise, and then obviously the public permission world. And so we felt that Polkadot, after kind of weighing our options in the beginning, really provided the most modularity and adaptability for being able to cater towards the enterprise or the government needs. A lot of times we have private permissioned requirements that then need to interact seamlessly with the public, retail, or decentralized permission world. So Polkadot really allows us to be that solution. So yeah, just a couple other things is that we're focusing a lot on, in the early stages, on digital identity because Indonesia has a massive population, and with some of the other use cases that we're building for microfinance and medical, this allows us to have an identity solution that is able to interact with government and enterprise portals. So yeah, we can talk more about that later. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Matt. Okay, Žiga, OriginTrail, you founded OriginTrail. And it's a platform for knowledge assets.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy about this because it was part of my computer science curriculum. But maybe can you explain a little bit and how it is helping people?
Yeah, the story or the origins of the OriginTrail date back to 2012, actually, when we built the first rudimentary solution to basically improve transparency in supply chains. And that's over 13 years now. And we've done a lot of different iterations on OriginTrail technology, from being a centralized solution to becoming a decentralized solution that was then later employed by much larger companies than initially. One of the first companies that initially employed OriginTrail to improve transparency in supply chains was a dairy in Central Europe, and it was already featured the application that was based on OriginTrail back in 2014. So there are still TV commercials from back then. And then in 2016 we started experimenting with Ethereum, and we also saw that Ethereum was not appropriate solution as a blockchain to really drive enterprise adoption. And later on, we have experimented with a lot of additional L2s like Gnosis, Matic, and so on. But we really found out that none of those solutions can compare, with the parachain infrastructure on top of Polkadot. So what OriginTrail is basically a merger between two technologies, blockchain, which we all know here, and knowledge graphs. Knowledge graphs were popularized by Google to power browsing experience, so you can consider OriginTrail technologically as sort of a Google for Web3, although it might sound a little bit, cocky to say this is a Google for Web3, but it essentially works as a Google technology does. And why is that important? OriginTrail right now powers some 20% of overall imports to the United States by supporting audit reports exchanges between major retailers such as Walmart, Home Depot, Costco. Now these audit reports describe what went on within some 30,000 factories that import to the United States. So we kind of see that technology is still better, more suited to be put in place than tariffs right now in the States if you want to improve the frictionless international trade. Then we're also securing transportation in Switzerland with SBB, Swiss Federal Railways. So those for Switzerland traveling with train, you're also, in a way safer, thanks to what SBB does with OriginTrail and dozens of other European-funded projects. And lately, we've been also onboarding a partner that handles some 150 million daily users on their internet platform. And all of these things, like the real-world challenges that we're tackling, require scalability. And today, I believe still by the end of the last year, OriginTrail assumed over 50% of all transactions within the Polkadot ecosystem. So we're really banging that hard. And what's becoming even more important in the present day is the online content. And we see that AI is now becoming the #1 generator of either fake news or things that are not according to reality. And this is kind of the next stage where OriginTrail, with the help of Polkadot technology, will have to even amp up its activities in order to tackle the new challenges that we're facing as a humanity.
Okay, wow. I didn't know the first part that your company has been existing for 13 years.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really nice highlight story of how Web3 is popping up as an option to do all of those things in the blockchain space, and you're doing this transition. It's really interesting. And I think it's also nice to highlight that it works for Polkadot Cloud as this space where you can deploy applications, like Web3 applications, and you get the throughput that you need. So one thing that is sometimes new for people is that Polkadot is not like Ethereum or Solana or other chains in that it is a single virtual machine, but it's basically a multi-core system. Like on your phone right now, you have multiple processor cores running, right? And so Polkadot offers a similar thing. So any chain that needs additional resources can tap into those multiple cores, right? And I was hearing that you're already looking forward to this upcoming release when you can tap into multiple cores.
Yeah, it's definitely just a matter of time when much greater scalability is going to be necessary. I mean, it started small, 10, 12 years ago, but now things are. We are in the big boys league, and we need to make sure that we're using the technology that can support not just Web3 applications, but the mainstream adoption. And mainstream adoption requires, much higher levels of scalability and also shared security. And all of these things are, being made possible only by Polkadot, according to our experience.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Žiga. Nicolas, so I want to dive a little bit deeper into Polkadot Hub, and what's upcoming, especially in terms of DeFi, since this is your specialization. And I know that you're working with a lot of companies to get them ready. So can you give us a little bit of a tease?
Yep, absolutely. So the hub is basically a component or a project built out of two main components. One of the main components is we're actually moving all the functionalities from the relay chain, which is the DOT token, governance and staking activities, up into this roll-up called the hub. And then the second component of this upgrade is turning it into EVM compatible. So it's going to be the first time in Polkadot's history that we're going to be able to develop products that actually tap into these very core functionalities of the Polkadot ecosystem, like governance and staking. So that's one. Obviously, given that we're making this EVM compatible and allowing smart contracts to be deployed, it's also very exciting because it's basically a white canvas where we're talking to builders and trying to get them to actually come and build on Polkadot, as I mentioned before, with their familiar EVM tooling environments, but also being able to leverage these very unique Polkadot functionalities. So we are building from the very typical DeFi primitives like DEXs, UniV3 type of DEXs, money markets, et cetera, but what really gets us exciting is what can be built on Polkadot that can be built elsewhere. And I think that's kind of probably drive a lot of the activity in Polkadot going forward. So yeah, it's something that we're really excited for.
All right, okay, thank you, Nicolas. Flavio, so Polimec is an ICO protocol, but I think in some way that even undersells it, because it has such a capacity to do more things because it is its own dedicated chain. So maybe you can share a little bit more about that. And maybe in relation to, you already did a few of those ICOs for protocols, maybe some good story to tell here?
Yeah, I mean, what we usually sell ourselves as what we call a settlement layer, but it sounds a bit boring, so we say ICO protocol. But at the end of the day, we settle deals in the primary market. So primary markets are not really accessible. There's no market for it per se. There's no liquidity for it. So what we provide is we settle those deals on chain, which obviously from day one makes us very scalable on the global stage, very accessible. It makes it very transparent in the sense that you have the same terms and conditions compared to everyone else investing in those opportunities alongside you. We have like a slogan, we call it I am the VC now, because we sort of allow everyone to become their own VC and tap into the same opportunities and deal flow. But this goes into this layer of being able to have this settlements done on chain. On top of that, we also use KYC solutions, which means we sort of create a compliant investing environment, which makes it very important for not only investors, but also for teams to be able to then, later on bring their funds to, because you still need them, banks or other financial intermediaries that you require for your services. So we sort of create much more of an ecosystem in that sense. It's a very fragmented market, as you know. The deal flow is fragmented, the liquidity is fragmented, and we want to aggregate it all in one ecosystem to provide those opportunities. As you mentioned, we did have a couple of really cool fundraisers last year. This year we will have the second wave starting in March. So as you mentioned, with the hub going live as well, we also expect much more Ethereum-focused projects or EVM-compatible projects to build on Polkadot, to have those smart contracts come over. It's much easier to build. You don't need the entire roll-up anymore. So for us, the party is just getting started, yeah.
All right, okay, thank you. Maybe, Matt, can you round us off a little bit, and maybe as a little bit of a tease, once identity becomes possible on Mandala, what are some other applications that you can build on top that have some impact in the real world for people?
Sure. Well, the identity is a key element to onboard more users. So the public can actually, the non-Web3 natives can actually participate in blockchain without even really knowing it. So whether they're interacting with their hospitals or their bank, this is all possible through the KYC and the verified credentials if we have the UI UX the way it needs to be. But yeah, for Mandala, we're also working on a lot of other use cases as far as supply chain, also some RWA tokenization, which is very exciting. We're going to be launching a marketplace for RWAs very soon. But also our kind of Mandala Chain Academy has just launched, where we're training up a lot of Indonesian students, university students to become, let's say, blockchain savvy and understand various codes like Rust and Solidity. And so that's very exciting to be able to onboard new developers. But also I'd say that the identity solution is now being integrated with some AI infra that will help with fraud protection, and that also will trickle down into some of the finance as well. There's a lot you could do with the AI agents we're finding. So I'll also end with, we have a new nation state that we're onboarding. Can't make the announcement just yet, but it's looking pretty official, so we're very happy with the copied, paste, deploy, that we're building out the infrastructure, the use cases, and then we can just bring that to different countries. Yeah.
A new nation state, okay, super exciting, thank you. Yeah, I think we could give you a little bit of an insight into what Polkadot Cloud and Polkadot Hub is capable to do. It's for Web3, it's the place to build Web3 where you can build the applications that are going to change the world. So hopefully we can see more of you coming to Polkadot soon, and feel free to reach out to us with any questions. Have a good consensus. Thank you.